we're going to be taking a look at the Amazfit GTR 2E. This watch comes out just a couple months after the GTR 2 came out, drops a few features, but also picks up a couple features, and it cuts $40 US off the price of the GTR 2. So I picked one up. I've been using it for a couple weeks now, and I just wanted to give you my overall review of it and just do a basic walkthrough of what you get. So I'm going to get a little bit in depth with this review and cover the ins and outs of this watch, but at any point, if you want to skip ahead, check out the chapters I built into the timeline below to get to the stuff you want to see. First, I want to just show you the unboxing I did a few weeks ago. It comes in a nice white box. Opening this up, you can see on the top here is the Amazfit GTR 2E right on the top. A nearly identical build to the GTR 2, except this one has an aluminum alloy casing instead of a stainless steel, which does shave off a bit of weight from it, but still has that same circular display, nice and light, and it's nice and thin. I really love the design of this watch. We'll get more into this in just a minute, but let's see what else you get. You can see you actually separate the two casings here to take out the watch, and then you have two separate boxes. Opening up the first box, all you have in this box is just the user manual. And in the other box, you have your proprietary charging cord, which magnetically attaches to the back of the GTR 2E. And that's basically it. You get your watch, you get your user manual, and you get your charging cord. And that's basically all you need. So a very clean and minimalistic unboxing. Now let's get into the watch itself. First, let's talk about the design, because this is one of the more well-built smartwatches that you will find on the market. Not only does it look amazing, but it's lightweight, it's very thin, it's unobtrusive, which is great for people that don't really like to wear watches to begin with. You really forget that it's on your wrist sometimes. It has a 46mm watch case with two physical buttons on it, a 1.39 AMOLED touchscreen, and the straps are 22mm silicone bands that can be replaced. Getting back to that display, again, 1.39 inch circular display with a resolution of 454 by 454 and a pixel density of 326 pixels per inch. It does get nice and bright. You can see it indoors, absolutely no problem. I can even see it just fine in direct sunlight. There is an always on option for this display. However, it does cut into battery life quite a bit, so you'll have to kind of juggle whether that's something you want to do. It has a really nice curved glass feel that connects up to the aluminum alloy on the sides. The two buttons, you have a power button, and then if pressed again, that'll bring you to a list of all your widgets available. And then you have the shortcut button, which is towards the bottom of the watch. On the bottom, you have your heart rate sensor, your SpO2 sensor, and then the pogo pins for charging. Again, the bands are 22mm. They're made out of a black silicone. They're actually really nice. They're really comfortable and flexible. Sometimes you get some harder, uncomfortable bands on these cheaper smartwatches, but this one feels really great. But again, if you don't like it, you can easily interchange these with other 22mm bands. Some other features, it supports 90 different sports modes. You have Bluetooth 5.0 LE, NFC, and GPS on this watch. It's rated at 5 ATM waterproof. It has an accelerometer, gyroscope, geometric sensor, ambient light sensor, and a barometer. You also get the heart rate monitor, the SpO2 monitor, sleep tracking, and a skin temperature measurement. It's rated at 24 days of battery life for typical use and 45 days for basic watch use. Comes in 3 different colors. You have Obsidian Black, which is this one, Dolphin Gray, and Ice Lake Green. Now, if you've ever used a smartwatch before, navigating this one will be very similar. To turn on the display, you can either raise your wrist and look at the watch to turn it on, or you can press one of the 2 buttons on the side. Once it's on, you will see your watch face, and you can choose between 50 different watch faces to use for this GTR 2E. Once it's on, you use the touchscreen to navigate the watch. Pulling down from the top of the watch display will bring up some quick settings. It will also show you the date, how much battery is left, the weather, and some other data. Going back to the watch face and swiping up from the bottom will bring up your notifications, and you can customize which notifications you get on this GTR 2E. Going back and swiping to the left or right will bring up some quick access apps that are customizable. The default ones are your activity, your heart rate, music controls, weather, your PAI score, and then the last is just a list of all the quick access apps. Going back to the watch face and clicking on the power button again will bring up a full list of all the widgets available. You can see on top you have the PAI score. This is a score out of 100 that basically tells you how active that you've been throughout the day, and the higher is obviously better. The next widget is your heart rate. You can see a graph of what your heart rate has done throughout the day, and then you can also scroll down to the bottom and see which zones your heart rate has been in throughout the day. The next widget is your SpO2 measurements, and you can take this on demand by clicking on this widget, tightening up the straps, and then clicking Start Measurement. The next widget down is temperature, and this is a skin temperature reading that is taken periodically throughout the day. Below that, you have workout. This is where you can actually choose a workout that you want to track. They have some presets here that you can choose from, or you can scroll to the bottom and click on more to add or edit more workouts to the list. Below that, you have a stress measurement, which is calculated by the change in heart rate variability values. The next widget down is activity goals. This will give you your activity tracking throughout the day, as well as allow you to change your goals. Below that, you have weather, which is self-explanatory. Again, music controls. You can edit alarms, events. You can click on widgets, which will get you access to the compass, the altimeter, the timer, and a countdown. You can also find your phone. And the last thing is settings. Here you can change the watch face, the brightness. You can turn on always on display. You can change the vibration levels. You can customize what you want the quick access apps to be, workout detection, and the shortcut button. So by default, the shortcut button brings up the workouts, so you can quickly get access to your workouts, but you can customize that to bring up any app that you would like. And then the last setting is the system setting, which will tell you more about the watch, the firmware version, the MAC address. You can also reboot it and reset the watch here. So that's how you navigate the watch and use it. Now I just want to get into my impressions and my review of this watch after using it for a couple weeks. First, in terms of the design, I think this is my favorite smartwatch that I've ever used, and that's including my Apple Watch. I just love the circular design. It looks more of like a regular watch to me. It's nice and light, it's nice and thin. The display is gorgeous. I like that you can easily swap out the bands. It just feels really great on the wrist, and I've had many people come up to me and ask me what kind of watch that is. When it comes to operating the watch, this thing has been really snappy. I've been really impressed with how responsive it's been. I've used some other watches that are close to the same price range as this that were a little bit more choppy and a little bit more laggy. This one, I haven't really noticed much choppiness or lag at all. It's recognized my swipe. It's been very responsive and very fluid for the most part. When it comes to durability, this is a pretty big watch face, and there's not much to protect it, so you kind of have to be a little bit careful. I do have a couple noticeable scratches on the screen after using this for about 2.5 weeks, just from bumping into things, so you're gonna have to be kind of careful using this, but for the most part, this still looks really good. When it comes to activity tracking, I'll say that when it comes to steps, standing up, and workout minutes, those are pretty easy things to track, and it does track those very well. When it comes to actually working out, what I found is that the more I used the GPS and did outdoor walks and runs, the indoor stuff got a lot more accurate. So when I first got this and I used it on the treadmill, it was pretty far off from the stats that I had on my treadmill. But as I did more walks with my dog outside and did the GPS and let it kind of calibrate itself, I've now noticed that a couple weeks later, the tracking of my treadmill runs has been much more accurate. Heart rate tracking seems to be right on par with my Apple Watch for the most part. It measures resting heart rate very well. When you're starting to get into high intensity workouts, it's not going to track it as well as a chest heart rate monitor would, but again, it's within a couple beats of my Apple Watch, which is good enough for me. The SpO2 sensing seems to be really good as well. Again, if you follow the instructions that it gives you, set the watch back on your wrist a little bit and tighten up the straps, it's right on par with what I get from my finger SpO2 reader, which is medical grade. So overall, I've been really impressed with this. When it comes to sleep tracking, this was another one that seems to calibrate itself. For instance, the first night that I used this, I know it was about an hour off from when I know I went to sleep to when I know I woke up. But the more I slept with it, it seems to keep tracking it better to the point where now I feel like it's almost spot on. And battery life has been superb. Again, coming from an Apple Watch, having weeks of battery life instead of just 1 to 2 days is just amazing to have. And I have been using this for about 2.5 weeks, roughly 18 days, and I'm at about 10% left. So I got a feeling that I can get about 20 days of use, and that's with tracking about a half-hour workout most days, having all notifications on, and using it moderately. So overall, for $140 US, this is a really great smartwatch, and I'm really impressed with it. And it all starts with that design. I feel like a lot of people that aren't into the design of the boxier type of smartwatches like the Apple Watch, they want it to look more like a traditional watch. This design is just beautiful. It has a beautiful screen. Everything is very responsive. It's nice and lightweight. And I feel like it is more for those people that really don't need all the smartwatch features like making and taking phone calls on your wrist or having internal storage for music. You just want a really great looking smartwatch that also has heart rate sensing, SpO2 sensing, skin temperature sensing. You can get notifications, you can track your activity and those sorts of things. Plus you get that amazing battery life and you don't have to worry about charging this for weeks on end. Again, guys, if you're in the market for something like this, I highly recommend taking a look at this watch. It's fantastic in my opinion. So if you're interested in the Amazfit GTR 2e, I'll put a link in the description below where you can check it out, get some more information, and buy it if you wish. Thank you to everyone that watched to the end of this video. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, press that like button, consider subscribing. It means a lot to me, guys.